Aloha! Welcome to my channel, everyone. Good to see you. This is part 2 of breaking down Jay's notes, my notes on the Kolbrin Bible. So I hope that for those of you who are watching live, I hope you enjoyed the preview, a little secret preview of things to come. I'm working on a lot of cool stuff, especially for when my channel gets to 100,000 subscribers. I'm creating something for all of you as a gift to show my appreciation. I think you'll enjoy it. So welcome if you're here live. Welcome if you're watching in the future. If you don't know what the Kolbrin Bible is, actually, before I jump into the presentation, I'm going to start something new on my channel this year, or I'm going to attempt to, starting today. Normally, I would just talk for like a couple of hours, even throughout the presentation. I like to, mingle with the chat and stuff. However, this year, what I'm going to try to do is give my presentation, roll the credits when we're finished, and then jump back on to hang out with people in the chat. That way, those of you who are just looking for the presentation, you can have that and watch it. And those of you who enjoy some, some friendship and whatnot at the end, you'll have that too. We'll hang out together. All right, without any further ado, oh, and also a huge thank you for all the super chats. I saw Paulo just totally sent one from Compton. Thank you. I used to live in Compton. All right, cool. So let's check this out. What is the Kolbrin Bible? Let's get a refresher real quick. I'm going to read this off of the internet. Thanks again, Paulo. It says the Kolbrin Bible contains 11 books. The first 6 books are said to have been scribed by Egyptian writers shortly after the Exodus and are collectively called the Bronze Book. The last 5 books are collectively called the Quell Book or the Caelidi and are said to have been written by Celtic priests around the time that the New Testament was being created. These texts are claimed to have been kept at Glastonbury Abbey, and the first section transcribed to bronze sheets, allowing them to survive the fire of 1184, which the text's publishers allege was set to destroy these and other heretical texts. What does that mean? Essentially, this is the book claims to be very old, right? One thing that I am not doing is trying to verify, the veracity of the book, how true it is, if it is inspired by God, or if it belongs in or out of the Bible or other holy or religious books. What I do is I take what resonates with me. I know, I sense, and I feel truth in many forms as it comes to me, right? So that's what we're doing as we go over these notes from the Kolbrin Bible. Just information, so take it how you like it. All right, cool. So now that we have a good rundown, let's pick up where we left off. I've changed it up a little bit, put a little scroll action up there, make it look a little cooler for everybody. Hopefully you can read it and see it. I put the words up here for us to all be able to read. So we started off, we're about halfway through the Kolbrin Bible. Let's pick up where we left off. We've talked about many different things that it's referenced, especially and including people who seem to have taken trips to the land at the North Pole, or the land that I believe to be at the North Pole, also known by many, many names, probably most commonly the Garden of Eden, right? All right, so let's pick up where we left off. It goes on to say, remember, these are just my own Cliff's notes, okay? The Kolbrin Bible itself is very long. So if you have the time, sit down, read it, check it out. It's a great reading. I had a good time reading through it. But these are my notes. In case you don't have that time to read over, I'm going to show you some of the highlights. So we continue on, and it says, the dust tore wounds in the skin of man and beast. So there's this dust storm that kicks up worldwide, right? When we go through depressurization. It's also the origin of the Sandman, right? When people see that squatter man figure made of plasma shooting up out of the ground up towards the North Pole, and all of a sudden these winds kick up and there's dust and debris and sand all over the place, that figure is seen as being the cause of it. And that figure is affectionately known as the Sandman. I've done a video on the Sandman as well. In the glow of the destroyer. Now remember, the Kolbrins talked about this destroyer that comes from time to time, descending down out of the sky. So however we look at this, we're talking about, or seem to be talking about, or given the perspective of something that is a cosmic event, something that is celestial, that is dropping down into our world, some sort of cosmic cataclysm. In the glow of the destroyer, the earth was filled with redness. That's that's a reference to the red sky, right? Just how we've talked about in the Hyperborean electrical arc theory. That's based off of a small version of the sodium vapor canopy, right? And it changes the color spectrum of our world for quite some time. Initially starting off as purple, moving into red and then orange, sort of an amber golden color, and then finally yellow. It goes on to say, trees throughout the land were destroyed, and no herb or fruit was to be found. The face of the land was battered and devastated by a hail of stones, which smashed down all that stood in the path of the torrent. They swept down in hot showers, and strange flowing fire ran along the ground in their wake. Another reference to sky boulders. That's what I like to call them. I have a theory, and I've done another video on my playlists about the origin of these random boulders strewn across mountains and countrysides and oceans alike. I believe that they are created up in the sky, actually, during this event. Goes on to say, the darkness was not the clean blackness of night, but a thick darkness, in which the breath of men was stopped in their throats. Men gasped in a hot cloud of vapor, which enveloped all of the land and snuffed out all of the lamps and fires. So, looking at this with plasma apocalypse, they live glasses, Rowdy Roddy Piper glasses, right? This is what happens, right? As our atmosphere goes through various color spectrums, it gets to the point where it eventually hits black, or it gets dark in our world. And that's those are many prophecies talking about the 3 days of darkness, how the sun turns off, or the sun goes dark, the moon goes dark, the stars all turn off or seem to fall from the sky, and it gives us darkness. However, because the atmosphere is depressurized, rapid depressurization of our atmosphere worldwide, it pulls apart the air and creates fog instantaneously, a mist, a thick mist. And that's often how it's referred to going back in time, was not just a light mist or a regular fog. They're talking about a thick fog that you could feel in the dark. Men gasped in a hot cloud of vapor, which enveloped all the land and snuffed out lamps and fires. So you have to imagine that this is, when the world depressurizes, this is what causes a tempest. A tempest is a world storm, like a worldwide hurricane that kicks up little tornadoes, all about the place. And it's going to cause winds that are so strong that it's going to be difficult. All electricity is going to be out anyway, but for those select few who can make a fire or whatnot, it's hard to keep those fires going because of these winds that blow about the place. It goes on to say the earth turned over as clay spun on a potter's wheel. The whole land was filled with uproar from the thunder of the destroyer overhead and the cry of the people. There was the sound of moaning and lamentation on every side. The earth spewed up its dead. Corpses were cast up out of their resting places, and the embalmed were revealed to the sight of all men. Pregnant women miscarried, and the seed of men was stopped. Ooh, this has a lot of interesting details. Let's go over it real quick. The earth was turned over. So the earth turning over, one, it will probably feel like the earth is physically flipping upside down, especially when you take into account the increased buoyancy factor and things floating about and the sky looking like it's coming down, etc. It may very well feel to many people like the earth is physically flipping like a coin. Another thing, or another way to look at it, is also it is a flipping of our electromagnetic energy of the earth that we live in. Everything is going to go to the opposite of what it is today. First everything will hit a neutral point, and then it'll flip around energetically and become the opposite. Many of us feel like we live in an opposite world already, so when this happens, it's likely that you may feel right at home, or a little better about your situation. The whole land was filled with an uproar from the destroyer overhead. That's because it's plasma cracking through the atmosphere, and you can hear many, many different thunders and whatnot that are constant coming from them. Lightning will give you a boom of thunder, but it goes away, right? Imagine lightning that doesn't go away. Imagine the cracking and the thunders and the sound that would make as it slowly undulates and spirals down into our world, seeking to ground itself. Corpses were cast up out of their resting places. So it's very likely, I believe, that all of these graveyards and all of these places where we put dead people in boxes and then lock them up and bury them 6 feet under the ground, the world's going to be shaking and subject to something known as liquefaction. When you shake the earth, or we shake anything really, it tends to level out. But another thing that happens is if there is liquid in the dirt itself, it will tend to rise up to the top and make things float, that were previously buried, and it will cause things to sink that were previously on the surface. So for example, all of those coffins, hundreds and thousands of coffins worldwide will just slowly start rising to the surface. I mean, they're filled with air. They're little sacks of air, little boxes of air. Thank you, Paula. Super appreciate you again. So you can imagine all of these boxes of the dead floating up to the surface, and then the dead themselves are reinvigorated. They come to life. It's Judgment Day, and the dead are brought back to life. It's the zombie apocalypse, and a reference to that. Now, this last part right here is super interesting. I sort of touched on this last time. Pregnant women miscarried, and the seed of men was stopped. I have found throughout my research and just life's experience that there are many little Easter eggs that are placed upon my path that seem to be just for me. One of those is that there seems to be a time when the world's population gets so large that something happens to our reproductive ability, or our ability to reproduce. And those who are anomalies during that time will be sought after for their ability to reproduce, and then morals start to change, and the social norms of our world start to change as well. We go on to read, it says, men lost their senses and became mad. Mad is an old world term for crazy, right? It means that you are crazy, you've lost your mind. It doesn't always mean that you're angry. It just means that you are mad. You are lost in your mind, or you're so different from others that you appear to be crazy, right? Men lost their senses and became mad. They were distracted by frightfulness. On the great night of the destroyer's wrath, when its terror was at its height, there was a hail of rocks, and the earth heaved in pain and rent her bowels. Gates, columns, and walls were consumed by fire, and the statues of gods were overthrown and broken. People fled outside their dwellings in fear, and they were slain by the hail. Those who took shelter from the hail were swallowed when the earth split open. So here we have another description, and there's many of these all throughout the Kolbrin Bible, referencing the plasma apocalypse or some sorts of different apocalyptic events or cataclysms. Men lost their senses. That's people becoming plasma possessed. That's what I like to call that. That's the name that I've given it, is plasma possession, right? Men lost their senses and became mad, became crazy. Actually, this is referenced quite a few times throughout the Kolbrin Bible. It makes a point to let you know that just before the end comes and during the apocalypse, that people become possessed by some sort of a frequency or vibration worldwide that amplifies negativity. Okay, so people start losing their minds, they become murderous, they become killers, etc. And it seems to be unrestrained. You know what I mean? It seems to be justified in their minds as if everything that they experience is totally natural, totally normal. The ends justify the means, and that's why they're turned into murderous killers or whatnot. But to everyone else who is not affected or not plasma possessed, you just see a bunch of people becoming crazy and psychotic. And then it goes on to talk about the hail of rocks, which we just mentioned, the rocks that come from the sky, but not just rocks, right? Now keep this in mind. If there are rocks and debris and particulates of various sizes now all of a sudden mixed up there in the air, right? You also have vapor that is up there in the air that is sticking to all of these things, and it's going to freeze, right? Depending on, where it is up there in the sky, but it's going to create hailstones, right? It's going to create ice that starts building up around all of these particulates, however large they may be, literally raining down boulders and hail the size of boulders, right? That fall down out of the sky. And then, of course, the earth splits open. Continuing on, it says, there were 9 days of darkness and upheaval. while a tempest raged, such as had never been known before. This is another reference to the tempest. In the Book of Mormon, they have a really good reference to this particular one, and I like it when they use the word tempest. I think that's a great distinction between a regular storm, a severe storm like a hurricane or something. This tempest is one to put to shame any storm, any electrical storm, any tornadoes, any natural disaster that you may have heard of or been through. This event is all of them put together. Okay. This is not like an event that's going to be on the news. This event will be known by all at the same time. Goes on to say, fire mounted up on high, and its burning left with the enemies of Egypt. It rose up from the ground as a fountain and hung as a curtain in the sky. Check this out. Isn't this interesting? It's talking about fire, what it calls fire, bursting up from the ground, erupting up from the ground. So not only do we have a reference to the destroyer and these entities that drop down in from the heavens above, but we also have references to the same types of entities, strange fire, plasma, basically, earth energy that shoots upwards from the ground itself. Fire mounted up on high. Its burning left with the enemies of Egypt. It rose up from the ground as a fountain and hung as a curtain in the sky. These are the sky pillars that we reference on my channel all of the time that are made out of light, basically. In 7 days by Renoir, the accursed ones journeyed to the waters. They crossed. Now, hold on. If I remember correctly, I believe that this is another retelling or a version of the story of the Hebrews as they were escaping Egypt. The Colburn Bible also goes into detail about that story. Basically it talks about how there came a time when there was these certain people, a group, a tribe, that had decided to leave the world behind, to leave the popular world behind. You could call it Babylon, you could call it Egypt, you could call it the modern world, at least for those people at the time. They all decided as one tribe to rise up and to go on an exodus, to leave the modern world that they were in. And the Egyptian rulers were very upset about that. They were basically like, no, you can't go. And then all the people just did whatever they wanted to anyways. They all rose up and left and went on this journey. And so they were followed by the armies. Like they were followed by the armies of the Egyptians. I mean, you know the classic story, right? But keep it in mind because it's destined to repeat itself. So, in our minds, we see that the Egyptians are following after the chosen people or a certain tribe who are trying to get away from Egypt, and then they get blocked by the ocean, right? It says in 7 days, so it took them 7 days' time, right? The accursed ones journeyed to the waters. They crossed the heaving wilderness while the hills melted around them. Above, the skies were torn with lightning. They were sped by terror, but their feet became entangled in the land, and the wilderness shut them in. They knew not the way, for no sign was constant before them, right? In order to know where they're going, because people become very disoriented during the apocalypse, the land itself changes. As you heard, they were talking about the mountains crumbling down or melting. However it may be, the land is changing, right? It's shifting. Our world and our landmarks that we use to get from place to place and to determine directions and whatnot is shifting and moving about and changing and being terraformed during this time. And then they were looking to follow a sign, of course, and I believe that sign is the blue beam at Mount Meru. All right, continuing on, it says, yet, though the pillars of heaven fall, though the great abyss open, the earth shall not end unless its purpose is fulfilled, right? So there are many biblical verses that talk about and reference how the earth is forever, how the earth will stand, etc., how many things come and go, but the earth continues on. And this is talking about even though the pillars of heaven fall, those are those sky pillars, those are those earth beams of energy filling our world with goodness and bringing upon us a golden age. Even though those pillars fall, and then we must suffer living through an entire eon or an entire age afterwards without that light in the world, without our world filling with magic and goodness and frequencies and new chemicals and stuff like that. The land suffers a famine. It goes through death and decay and entropy. And it says, despite that, the earth will not end. So this is good news. So for many people that hear of the apocalypse, specifically those of us who had forgotten about it, the first thing we think is that the earth is going to blow up. The earth is just going to disappear. That's the end of life, etc. The writer of the Kolbrin Bible, I feel, is expressing, no, there's hope. The earth will continue on. This is a refresh. This is a reset. This is not the end of the earth. It's not being completely destroyed. It is your way of life. It is the system that has been set up by man that is about to be destroyed. But the earth can be destroyed one day when it serves no purpose. All right, continuing on, it says, that which once was heavy is now light. This is really interesting. Let me go ahead and read everything that I can see here so we can get a bit of context. I can't exactly remember what was happening during this particular passage, but obviously, you know, I highlighted it because of the change in what people call gravity. It says, there's but one flame, and when the waters mingle with waters, there is but one water. When all is merged in one, then the difference is removed. I believe this was in like the Proverbs section when it was giving advice to people on how to live a good and moral and upstanding life and whatnot. And it was talking about mixing and being careful about who you're around and what company you keep. But then this part where it says, that which is once heavy is now light. As once I was in the body, so now I am in the spirit. All that was once impure has been purged away. The painful darkness of earthly life is no more. The heavy burden of restriction has gone, and I am free. Easy as pie. It's the easiest thing in the world. Easiest thing in the world to interpret this internally. And that's it. To interpret it as being like, oh, it's all about finding yourself on the inside. I absolutely agree. I totally agree with that, right? First and foremost, that's where it all starts. It all begins spiritually. It all begins energetically, and then it will manifest itself physically. I think that some spiritualists out there, from my experience so far, they seem to often forget about the physical, living only within the realm of the mental or the spiritual or whatnot, and completely disregarding the physical as if it's some sort of lesser form, when I don't believe that it is. I believe that they all depend on one another. They all are definitely related to one another. And so anyways, if it's not interpreted internally, then what this is also referencing is things literally becoming lighter in our future. And also, this means, by implication, that there was a time in our past when things were not as heavy, when things were less heavy and they were more lighter and things were weighed less, they were easier to pick up, etc., which is why this gives rise to superpowers when we, the survivors, who have a certain muscle strength already, move into a world where the conditions have altogether changed, and suddenly we can use these muscles to pick up objects that used to be considered heavy to us and will be considered heavy to those who are born into the future world and accustomed to it. However, we can pick them up easily, right? And then it talks about the restriction being gone and being free. I believe that that's also a reference to depressurization and that restriction that's being pushed on us. Paolo, I super appreciate you every time. Thank you so much. All right, continuing on, it says, I know the nature of the forming force which unceasingly shapes things out of formless matter. I mean, this to me is an accurate ancient description of plasma, basically, right? Continuing on, it says, Egypt, great, fertile, black land amidst the encircling red plains. I think that that's really interesting too, because modern Egypt, I believe that there were other countries, original countries or original lands that shared the names of their descendants, okay? Or basically, there are those who lived in one area of the world, and then they were forced to disperse. When they dispersed, they took their land's names, or their region's names like Egypt and Ethiopia and whatnot, and they applied them to the new places where they settled. Because here it says Egypt, great fertile black land. That's interesting, right? I mean, I've been to Egypt and it didn't appear black, and I doubt it's talking about like the inhabitants or anything like that, amidst the encircling red plains. So that's more context to prove that the black is a reference to the actual ground or the actual land itself. And it is amidst the encircling red plains. If you look at Egypt on the map today, it's not encircled by any plains. It's not encircled by anything, actually. On two sides of it are water, being the Red Sea and the Mediterranean. And then on the other sides, you've got a couple of different countries off to the side. So it's no longer encircled. Or that land that we call Egypt today is a different land than the Egypt that is being referenced here, which I'm pretty sure of so far. All right. To the rim of the great circle he went, to where the fires of the netherworld were revealed, and men were the brothers of dwarves. He it was who brought back the great hairy giant who rests with Thosis. So this isn't, there's many interesting stories throughout the Kolbrin Bible. This one right here is talking about this guy who's on some sort of a quest or whatnot. I don't remember all of it right now, but I thought it was interesting as it's describing where he's going in his quest. They're really good about describing like the land and stuff. So if you have an idea, you can start to figure out where they may have been, right? To the rim is the outer edge, right, of the great circle. I think that's totally talking about the land at the North Pole, because it's a circular land. It's a valley land that's surrounded by mountains. To the rim of the great circle he went, to where the fires of the netherworld, that is the plasma that is under the earth or in the hollow recesses inside of the earth, were revealed to men, and where the brothers, the fires of the netherworld were revealed, and men were the brothers of dwarves. So this is super interesting, right? Like all of a sudden it's like dwarves, you know what I mean? You're reading the Kolbrin Bible. It's got the word Bible on it. That's not really the name of it. It doesn't really have a name. That's just what it's been dubbed by us. But it's so awesome. Such an interesting story, right? Full of, many similarities to other religious books, not just the Christian Bible, but many of them, right? And all of a sudden they're throwing something that is considered by mainstream academics to be pure fantasy, right? Hogwash, just not true at all. All of a sudden, they're throwing dwarves in the mix as if it's just matter of fact. Men and dwarves live together, which is very interesting because the land at the North Pole on the ancient maps says that there are particular areas where different races of humanoids lived. One of those being what they sometimes refer to as the Skraeling. And the Skraelings were oftentimes also considered to be the dwarven race. Very super interesting. All right, let's continue on. It says, the day of the destroyer will come again, and the land shall be laid waste. It will strike out of heaven at a time when there is prosperity and peace, though the minds of men shall be perplexed. It will be a time when men worship the works of men and say, there is nothing greater than these. When women are as men and men are as women, when the hearts of men are in turmoil and all seek pleasure and gain, when craftsmen are inefficient and workmen are idle, and all men seek ease and comfort. Be alert and strong, my children. Be ready for the day of the next visitation, when doom reaches down from the skies and man is blasted with irresistible power. God! I mean, excuse me, but what powerful words. God, I mean, that strikes me to the heart, really, because it's clearly describing the modern world, right? I mean, he's imagine this, he's talking to people who this is news to them, you know what I mean? They're like, they can't even conceive. This is like talking about, some futuristic sci-fi book or something to people of the time. But now we live during these times. Now we can clearly see what has been written down and used to perplex people who, to them, it was not the norm, right? So, be alert and be strong. We've been cautioned by many books to be alert, to be sober-minded, to be able to think clearly, to continue holding on, to keep your courage as you push through, not to end our lives prematurely, but to trudge on this path, knowing that there's a reward. All right, continuing on, it says, this is not the hour, nor is this the generation of the test. Gaze upon the warden of the night. Does he falter on the path? Is it not written that he shall be the herald for our coming of doom? Where then is the sign? The sign, I believe, is the light that comes up out of the earth. That is the sign. It's the sign that the wise men followed when they saw the star of Jesus or whatnot. They followed that light, and it will be a light in a time of darkness, right? One of my favorite references, I talk about it all the time, but it's in Ghostbusters when when one of the characters, kind of the nerdy character, right, he's totally plasma possessed, right? Walks right up to this horse and carriage, and he talks to the he talks to the horse instead of the guy on the carriage, right? And he basically says like, look for the sign, and the day is coming when all the captives will be set free, or something. He's talking to the horse because the horse is a slave. In that image, we just see a horse and carriage or whatever. It's it's nothing to us because we don't recognize that that's a horse and our brother. I mean, that's a carriage that is connected to our brother, right? Or sister, or whatever it may be. That's another living sentient being. Anyways, let's continue on. That's the sign. Our destiny lies northward, and such is foretold in the sacred writings. The destiny lies to the north. The ancients knew it, and we are being told that time and time again these days. None among all who know our ways shall be forced to go. Neither shall we condemn those who remain. Right? So, for example, this is speaking of a sabbatical. This is speaking of the exodus of the ages. I don't know what you'd like to call it, but there is a time when a remnant, a certain pocket of people, all feel and hear a call, a desire, a pulling to go to a place of safety before the apocalypse actually comes. And this is referencing people who decide not to go, right? This is for those of us, because we tend to group up, when we get into groups and stuff, we get very like team mentality and stuff. So those of us who are leaving might be insistent. Some people might be insistent, say, you need to come with us. You need to do what we're doing, etc. This is warning against that and saying, hey, we don't do that. We don't force people to walk our path. Okay. We respect that they walk their own path, and we find peace and merriment and joy and happiness in allowing others to walk their path. And we're content walking with them side by side for a time, knowing that the time will come when they continue on their own path. So we cherish those moments. And we will not condemn those who remain, right? Some people want to swan dive up into the sky, get sucked up, leave this world, and try again somewhere else. Others are more content to stay here and to survive. And I applaud that. Continuing on, it says, yet... Well, actually, let me read this whole thing. Now, the wisdom of olden times is replanted in the land. I like that. Though it sits without in the courtyard. Yet among... I'm sorry, I'll start this over. Now, I'm just going to read the yellow part. Yet among those behind the pillars, many know who among them sees clearly. Great secrets are hidden deeply, but they are not unknown, and the day will come when the soil will give up its treasures. So, I kind of messed that one up, but basically I believe this is talking about esoteric knowledge, right? That has been hidden from the populace, from the mainstream for years and age upon age, or, that hundreds upon hundreds of years, basically. Most people have forgotten the old ways, but those old ways were planted in the ground. And now I believe is the time when those plants are starting to grow, when those plants are starting to sprout in the form of us, in the form of those who are being led down a path of revealing. I don't know what else to call it. All right, continuing on, we read, as you grow, may your thoughts ever seek to inquire. That means keep asking questions. May you be filled with the heady wine of the gods, the gift that spurs men to venture forth into strange places, seeking the unknown, which leads them to seek green pastures beyond the desert, the dawning over the sea rim, and the light beyond the circle of darkness. A description of the land at the North Pole, if I ever heard one. I love it, especially this desert part. I feel like some people forget that in this theory of the plasma apocalypse that I've been working on, there are two different cycles, essentially. One cycle introduces ocean water. Another cycle takes that ocean water away. So in the places where you would expect it to say ocean or waters or lands or seas, it says desert now, all of a sudden. It goes on to say, would that I could journey to a land against the rim of the earth. So this guy is basically saying, God, I wish I could go to the North Pole. Like, that's how I'm interpreting it, okay? But the rim of the earth is the four corners of the earth, which is centrally located in the midst of the world. It's at the heart of the world and leads to the spine of the world. That would be called the rim of the world. And he says, would that I could journey to the land against the rim of the earth. Like, I wish I could. God, I wish I could go there. The first land on earth wherein men dwelt was not Kahemu, which sounds kind of like Chem, or the ancient word for Egypt, Chem. The first land on earth wherein men dwelt was not Kahemu. It was a land out beyond the salt waters. Now, what's beyond salt water? Fresh water, right? So there's said to be a crystal clear lake in the center of this island continent at the middle of the world, and it contains fresh water. And fresh waters spew out from it and mix with the rest of the ocean salty waters, which are bitter waters. None knows in truth the old motherland, or where it was. They are all tales, but they disagree. So this is a direct reference to the Garden of Eden, right? To Arcadia, to, there's many different names for this magic land or whatnot, but basically he's saying nobody knows where it is. like people used to know where it was. They came from it, you know what I mean? But then we go through these cataclysms, the directions change, right? Because of the electromagnetic polarity flip. So compasses are backwards and opposite of what they once were. The seasons change. All the seasons go through a shift. You have to adjust for whatever holidays that you celebrate and stuff. You have to, or make new holidays and stuff like that, right? So everything's changing. And he says nobody knows where the old motherland was. All right. There are tales. There are stories. There are legends and myths because people came from there. There were survivors, but they disagree, right? But this is not the time for disagreement. This is the time for coming together. This is the time for taking all of our perspective pieces of a bigger picture and putting them together so that we can find our way and return together, hopefully. It goes on to say, this was the aspect of the disaster as written in the book of beginnings. So he's going to describe the apocalypse to us. There were openings in the land, from which evil vapors poured forth as a mist. Descending upon the people like a mantle, it spread out and covered the whole face of the land. The tongues of the people were stopped, and they became dumb with fear. The ground trembled beneath them. The great tongues of flame shot up. The whole land heaved and rocked like an ocean wave. As it rose and fell, groaned and shook. The fires which strove beneath burst forth to be met with shafts of lightning striking down from heaven. This is your classic battle between the earth and the cosmic deity. Okay, the earth releases its weapons, shoots its light up into the sky. Meanwhile, the sky itself is releasing its own hydra form, of plasma that's separating and splitting itself and coming down. And it's seen as this great cosmic battle. And that's what it's describing right here. Also, the earth opens up and there's all these new gases and stuff, vapors that are released from the earth. So this is a time of the alchemical wedding, essentially. New elements, gases, electricity, they're all introduced, that they all stir together in the huge pot of Ragnarok to create new conditions for us. So immediately, some of those conditions may be immensely beneficial, while others might be deadly. Be careful. Continuing on. Oh, by the way, if you're just joining us, I'm totally going to jump into the chat and hang out once I'm done with the presentation. We might take a break or something, but then I'll come back and just, say what's up to everybody in the chat, hang out and chat for a bit. All right. It goes on to say, they came through the marshes and across the wild mountains beyond the barren places of stone into a new land called Anketa. Here grew the great life tree, known even in the days of our fathers, reference to the tree of life. Here is a tree of strange aspect, like unto no other, though in the days of our fathers it was barren and enclosed in flames. Now we know that the life tree grew in Talius, which is towards the land of dawn, where the sun rests, right? By Pontus. Therefore, could not the old motherland have been found hereabouts? So he's speculating on the location of the Garden of Eden. One sec. Sorry, I had myself playing on the background on my phone. All right, so even back then, these people they're trying to figure out where this land is. Why? right? I mean, maybe it's fun or whatnot, but they want to get back to it. It's a safe haven. It's the safe haven of the world. So it's kind of important for those people who would like to remain safe during the apocalypse to find it, or to find it again. It's talking about the tree of life. This is where the tree of life is, and the old motherland, etc. Let's continue on. He says, great winds howled like 1,000 unearthly wild dogs. They left all behind them and came across the wild places to the land of refuge. So there is an apocalyptic event happening. There is a vast group of people who all seem to feel some sort of a call. They all go on this trip. They all go on this sabbatical to this safe haven land. And it's called here the land of refuge. Thus, is it not impossible to discover where the old motherland lay? Ah, see, this is where it gets fun, because this guy right here, whoever he is, he's saying it's not impossible to know where the Garden of Eden is. You totally can figure it out, right? Therefore, there is hope, and men need not despair, for the secret may be rediscovered. See, the little tiny seeds of good news all throughout the apocalyptic, crazy, scary events. I love that. I love that they continuously give hope. They say all is not lost. The earth is not going to be destroyed. There will be survivors. And if you'd like to figure out where this place is, this safe haven, you can. It is doable. You can figure it out. He goes on to say, behold, in the days long gone into the dust, the whirlwind came and earth poured out her wrathful breath, so that you were burnt. The evildoers were swept away by the waters, and the wicked ones were swallowed up in the fires. The days of the years were shortened, and the times of all things were altered. The seasons were turned around, so that the seed rotted within the soil, and no green shoots came forth to greet the day. All buds were withered upon the vines. The land lay dead under its gray shroud. The moon changed the order of her ways, and the sun set himself a new course, so that men knew not where they were, and all were afflicted. The stars swam in a new direction, and the whole order of things was changed. This event, the plasma apocalypse, shifts everything so that people wake up disoriented. Purposefully done, I believe. People are completely disoriented. They can't tell what direction is what. They don't know where they're facing. They might not even realize that the sun and the stars and the moon have shifted, right? If they just wake up, if somebody put a blindfold on you, turns you around or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, and all the sun and all the stars and everything is going a different way, and you're in a land where there are no landmarks to recognize, you might think that nothing has changed in the heavenlies. You might just assume that they're all going the same direction they've always gone, when in reality they have all shifted and the land has changed. And of course the seasons change too. There's a seasonal shift. 4 times the stars have been moved to new positions, and twice the sun has changed the direction of his journey. Twice the destroyer has struck earth, and 3 times the heavens have opened and shut. That is the depressurization event, the heavens opening and shutting, okay? Twice the land has been swept clean by water. So he's just given a quick account. Hey, for those of you who have forgotten, these things have been tracked by some of us, and they've happened before, and they're going to happen again, basically. He goes on to say, before creation commenced, there was one father/mother being, and from this divinity came the heavenly twins. From these were born 3, and the 3 became many. All right, so there's various ways that people could interpret this, right? You could get just super esoteric and deep, gematria or whatnot. You could talk about Adam and Eve and the first children, etc. Here's how I'm going to interpret it. Before creation commenced, there was the one, right? The one is a beam. It's just a single beam of light that shoots up, right? That beam is the source energy inside of our world, right? As it grows, it branches outward, just like a tree branches outward, just like you branch outward from your source, right? Fingers and toes and whatnot, right? So that splits into anode and cathode. It splits into 2. So now the one has split to become 2, which gives rise to 3, right? We got anode, cathode, and Mount Meru in the middle. All right, continuing on, it says, northward lay the entrance to the kingdom of darkness under the earth. Okay, so if you want to go to the kingdom of darkness under the earth, which is in the hollow recesses underneath your feet right now, all you got to do is go north. That's what this is saying. The portal lies behind a veil of air mixed with water. That's vapor. Okay. It is covered. There's probably a huge pressure gradient or pressure difference between the surface, where the surface world meets the inner world. Okay, I'm assuming that there's a huge pressure difference between the two, and that the inner world is constantly releasing that pressure, aka the breath of God, or the breath of the earth or wind, up into our world, changing our pressure systems and creating various weather patterns and stuff like that. So you would expect for it to be vaporous around that particular region. It goes on to say, let's see. The floor is of water, not too deep that the dismal stony bottom cannot be seen. Hence men require a boat. Both sides of the entrance are flanked with giant blocks of stone, from which rise huge pillars, set one against the other, so that there is no space between them. The whole is overset with an immense rock, greater than any cut by mortal hands, and it is shaped like the rump of a man. It's the split mountain. It is in a cold region of long darkness, where the calf of gold shows his displeasure. So I'm just going to sum all of that up instead of getting super deep into it. It's once again referencing the land at the North Pole. All right, let's continue on. It goes on to say, let's see. I believe it's also talking about the same land area, and it says, salt is found in bitter waters, which wash... Sorry, hold on, let me read this one. Salt is found in bitter waters, which wash far off shores in the land of the salt mountains. This is interesting to me, right? I've come across salt mountains many times recently in my studies, also copper mountains, which may have something... which may be related, which I believe so far is related to the Earth being a sort of electrical cell or a battery, basically. These are things that you can get through electrolysis of the ocean. All right, so it goes on to say, let me read that over. Salt is found in bitter waters, which wash far off shores in the land of the salt mountains. Men who have sailed far have seen great mountains covered with salt. They lie under the steadfast stars, gleaming in a strange light. So this is a reference to the aurora borealis. Honey comes airborne from heaven to be gathered by the bee. Once the earth was veiled within an awesome cloud, and in those days honey fell as frost upon the ground, and it fed man and beast when the herbage withered. Oh my God. Okay, this is Frosted Flakes. This is Mountain Dew. Just so you know, that's where this stuff comes from. Okay, so it's giving reference to manna. It's giving a reference to this sort of slime that is a byproduct of what's happening when you have this huge electrical charge shooting up into the atmosphere and splitting everything in its path. It drops out this sort of slime that lands on the ground, and it dries out and becomes these wafers or these flakes, or these frosted flakes, etc., that people ate. They were pure energy, basically. All right, continuing on, it says, there is a race of men beyond the mountains, whose span of life is thrice that of other men. So now another reference, talking about this Hyperborean area, where people live much longer lifespans. Well, it stands to reason, right? That if you go to the place that is the source of life, that you would probably live a little bit longer, right? Much less pressure in that particular region. Probably more oxygen and other things that are contributing to longer lifespans. All right, continuing on, it says, again, as had happened many times, the great light was removed from the midst of men. That blue beam retracted and went down. Then came the year of the great flood of waters. So now you're going to learn about his perspective of the flood apocalypse, right? Then came the year of the great flood waters. Though some say it was before these days when the salt seas rose up in the east and covered the land. Men were warned beforehand by the shortening of the days of the years, and the 5 days now added to the days of the year are days of sorrow for the alteration of things. It is said that 7 days before the coming of the waters, the sun appeared in a different quarter of the sky. But this is not easy to believe, as the sun remains ever constant. I like how he throws in his own little commentary, his own little doubt. The sailors of the king certainly departed for strange places during the chaos of waters. Perhaps this was because the sun had left his steady course. All right, I want to point out a few different things here real quick. First of all, the blue beam retracted. When the sky pillars fall, those beams of light that are shooting up out of the earth and touching the heavens, when those pillars fall, it is seen as the heavens falling too, that those pillars were supporting the heavens or the sky itself, and that the sky falls down, giving rise to the flood. So if there is an ocean, you probably know, what's coming next, right? That's crazy. The ocean is the flood, just so you know. Okay, it's just receded a bit, but that's the flood. Let's see. This talked about the ocean, talked about the pillars falling down. Oh, and then it talks about how they had to add more time to the calendar, right? Possibly, here's my theory on that, is that the Earth grows during the plasma apocalyptic event, that the Earth gets bigger. And every time that the Earth gets bigger, then that point of focus we call the sun and the moon and the stars and all of those luminaries that we use to keep track of time is increased. And therefore, our concept of time is also increased. And we have to add days to the calendar, etc. All right, let's continue on. Goes on to say, the twin powers drawn down entwined about themselves and grew even stronger. Even the waters are damned to be drawn upon. So was the united power built up into a reserve of force. A storehouse of strange energy was prepared. So I believe this is talking about those anode and cathode mountains that emit their own lights on either side of this mysterious lost island, right? That has Mount Meru in the center. Their light shoots up, and then eventually they are attracted to one another and they connect, creating an electrical arc in the sky, which also changes some stuff too. One moment. Yeah, so a storehouse of strange energy is his way, I believe, of talking about plasma, basically. Continuing on, it says, the purpose of Earth and earthly life is awakening the souls of men. Earthly conditions can serve no other end. So this is one of those proverbs. He's just saying, this is why we are here. People want to know, why am I here? What's going on, right? We are here, at least for some of us, right? This is our mission. This is my mission. Earthly conditions can serve no other end other than awakening of the souls of men. Now, it says that that's what Earth is for. Does it say that that's what you're for? You're here to awaken everybody? No. The purpose of Earth is to awaken everybody, not your purpose, okay? Your purpose is to be awakened, right? Handle yourself, you know what I mean? The Earth will handle everybody else. Rejoice in the sure knowledge of your soul's indestructibility, but let your joy be leavened by remembrance of your responsibility for its condition, right? So, hey, be happy. The Earth is here forever. It's standing. It's strong. This is our home, etc. But also be balanced in knowing that we have a responsibility being the inhabitants here. Let's keep a clean house, basically. Goes on talking about the dwarves. There are dwarf men still living among us in the forest depths and in the caverns under the earth, though none here has seen one, right? So he's like, I know this stuff's real. I know dwarfs are totally real, okay? Like that is known by many people. However, I'm going to be honest, I've never actually seen a dwarf myself. Remember, as those columns, those world pillars, as they retract and the earth goes through famines and whatnot, right? All of the magic in our world is siphoned. It starts receding. It starts going down, just like the ocean or the floodwaters started receding, going down. So does the magic. So does the energy. It's all being drank by the earth, basically. It's drinking all that energy and taking it back into itself so that it can share it once more. All right, never fighters with sword or axe and shield. He's clarifying something about dwarfs. Apparently, this was a stereotype that he had in his day too. They were never fighters with swords or axes or shields. The battle-shy dwarf men were twin-handed dart hurlers. Isn't that interesting? Right? So in our minds, we imagine Lord of the Rings and Gimli and, big old beard and stuff, and they're just stout little tree stumps of men. walking around with double-edged battle axes and grunting at people and stuff, right? Those are cartoonifications of the reality. He's trying to explain his version of the reality, and he's saying that they were actually battle shy. The dwarven people were said to use their wits and to be much smarter than we give them credit for in today's world. And they were inventors. They were makers of all sorts of interesting things. They have a connotation and an association with metals and mining and stuff like that because of where they lived, in tunnels under the earth. And indeed, they would dig and add to their homes and their tunnels just as we do on the surface, right? It says, back-pointing, evil-toothed, barbed short lances were their hand-carried weapons, and no man-smiting metal was theirs to work. So we imagine them as being these metal working smiths and stuff like that, as it's shown to us in like Marvel movies and stuff, right? But in reality, he's saying that they are totally different than that, which is refreshing to me to get another perspective on the dwarven people. He goes on to say, this is the tale of the sky fight, the cosmic battle. But whether it happened before or after the generation of Hestabel and the flood tale, none now truly knows. It concerns the doom dragon, which has come more than once and will come again. And the last music mankind will ever hear is the shrill, throbbing notes of the doom song. I love all these. I love how this guy writes this. I don't know who this is, but I like how he talks, okay? So we've got the doom dragon, which is just plasma coming down from above, you know what I mean? Undulating on down like a giant fire dragon. And then you have the doom song, or the noises that are created by these events. Imagine the types of noises you'll hear being inside of the very container that is going to pressurize or depressurize your entire world. That itself is going to give off all kinds of vibrations and therefore sound. Also, you have the booming of all of these plasma volcanoes, specifically the largest ones at the top of the world, going off, boom, exploding their light up into the heavenlies, crashing into all of the different chemicals and substances and gases and stuff on their way to the roof, to the ceiling of our world, right? Those are going to make their own booms. 3, probably, huge consecutive ones followed by lesser ones. And then, of course, you have the electricity in the sky itself, crackling, booming, making all kinds of sounds of rushing waters and many voices, etc. Pardon me. Let's continue on. It goes on to say, out into the gray, watery wilderness, where now the restless western waters roll and heave, there was a place called Tirfola, meaning the far western land. Now, some of you have already tracking, right, when we're talking about these alternative directions and whatnot. Paolo! Thank you, Paolo. I appreciate you. Yeah, you're totally right about people getting real. All right, continuing on. It says, out into the gray, watery wilderness, where now the restless western waters roll and heave, there was a place called Tirfola, which is strikingly similar to Tripura that we've talked about in Hinduism, right? Meaning the far western land. Obviously, on a globe, there is no far western land. So think about that. It is a country of high mountains, right? Because it's a valley surrounded by high mountains. It is a country of high mountains, higher by far than any of those known to us. And low, green-grassed hills swept down from them into brown, fertile, plowed lands at the sea edge. The folk of Trifola lived in the fine houses, though the roofs were flattened, built on cliff shelves, and placed high above the fertile valley floor. So these people built into the sides of these cliffs their little domains and houses and living places and stuff as little safety areas. And then it continues on and says, ladders went up to the side of their houses, for they were entered from the roof. The ways of other people are strange. So right here, he's talking about how people built their dwelling places into the sides of cliffs. These are the original and where you get cliff dwellings from. Okay. This is a good idea. Also, this is reciprocated in various elements of fantasy and movies. I'm thinking of The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. In the movie remake, the modern movie remake of Time Machine, This guy goes so far into the future that he ends up in this jungle area where all of the people don't live in the jungle. There's a cliff that goes off the side of the jungle, and they all have built their houses and stuff like that into the cliffs themselves. So I've seen that correlation come up time and time again. We read, "The day came when sleeping earth awoke to a great silence and stillness, not a breath of air stirring the anticipating trees, and no bird in its perch, and every animal remained quiet within its den or in the field. All was hushed and motionless, waiting." This is the calm before the storm. Things get real quiet for a little bit. Then the soaring sun brought low moaning winds which stirred the trees and the grasses to rustling, murmuring life, but all living creatures huddled close together. The sky roof above was darkened and lowered. It was ruddily hued, ruddily means red, and gave out sharp whip-cracking sounds, as though it would break asunder. So this is the sky. There's sounds, thunderings, sky quakes, you might call them, coming from above, as if it was about to be rent into two or torn in half. In heart-thumping procession, awesomely figured sky gods never before seen passed overhead. Men lived through 2 fear-struck days of dread, not knowing what to expect during the time which there was no true night. One heart-stopping sight after another passing before their horror-filled eyes. People can't believe what's going on. Okay, this is the stuff of dreams and movies. This is where, it literally is like where they come from. Water streamed downward from the fountain spouts of the sky, not as rain falls, but as water drops from a pail that was turned upward. So like lots of water, basically. Neither was it the pure, true rain. It was tainted with bitter blood from some strange battlefield in the vast sky spaces and contained broken pieces of the rainbow. It's kind of like what you would expect to see after it has rained and a car leaves and there's like a little puddle of oil where the car was, how it has that sort of rainbow effect on it. I believe that's something similar to that. The sky itself, this is all Skittles reference too, by the way. The sky roof itself was borne down to the very surface of the seething waters, and Mother Earth cowered beneath it. So this is the time when the pillars were removed, the rains fell, right? Huge buckets. It's not like drizzling rain, okay? What he's trying to make the point of is this is drenching downpour, okay? Not like, oh, it's raining a bunch. No, like this is a lot of water falling from the sky. And blood, water mixed with blood too, I should say as well. At least what appeared to them to be blood, right? And then with awful sadness came a high wave wall of dark, white-fanged edged waters, sweeping swiftly along in fearsome irresistibility. It carried everything before it, as a broom sweeps the floor. And accompanying it was a high-born note, long and drawn out, or sound. Behind it, upon the seething waters, all the fruits of the land, house debris, trees, bloated dead animals, and humans floated upon the wild, wide waters. There was an earthly brown, foamy scum which drifted strangely over the surface, not sinking, yet not like oil, for it was gritty. It was irregular and held together. It was like the scum on a fuller's tub. So what this should picture in your minds is a huge wall of water, a wave that continues to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and everything is just getting sucked up into that wave, and then it leaves a trail of debris behind it, basically, a tsunami. Hell formed. Hideous things came up from the depths, swelling and burst onto the surface. There were fearful sea monsters and great whirlpools. Terrible things from unknown places. Wild creatures were washed about, dead or dying. So these hell-formed creatures are released. Okay, they come up from inside of the earth. There are creatures that come down from the heavens, as we've discussed, but there are also earthly creatures right now beneath your feet, wherever you are. There's all sorts of critters underneath us, okay? Animals, creatures, aliens, whatever you want to call them, demons, monsters, whatever. They exist, okay? They don't exist much in our surface world today, mostly because, either they can't meet the conditions for survival, or they've just straight up been eradicated, hunted by royalty worldwide, hunted down and destroyed. Sometimes with good cause. I mean, you know what I mean? If trying to eat you, then yeah, you're going to hunt them. All right, it goes on to say their god was a huge, many-hued stone, a stone of many colors, which when placed on their strange altar, kindled the wood of the offering on this altar. And it's talking about these people's god. And it says that their god was a huge, many-colored stone. And when they put that stone on top of this strange altar, that it lit the wood on the fire. It lit the wood on fire all by itself, right? Which sounds kind of like, something we would do in the modern world with an oven or something, or a stove with electricity. When light fell upon it from the eye of heaven. So the eye of heaven is the depressurization point, right? Where there's a hole in the sky and it's blown open, right? And that allows the heavenly fires to come down. That allows electricity to come down. So if that electricity finds something that it is attracted to, you could literally call forth fires from heaven into a particular spot, to a particular spot on the ground, right? And there's many references to this, most notably Elijah versus the prophets of Baal in the Bible. That's a good one too. All right, continuing on, he goes on to say, neither am I the prophet of peace. He is yet to come. So this guy's talking about how some people would call him like a prophet and stuff. And he's saying, yeah, but I'm not the prophet of peace. Like there is somebody here. Along your path, you're going to meet many guides. Let me just say that. I have met many guides, and I believe you will too. Sometimes, not all of those guides should be the same. As a matter of fact, if they're effective, they should be altogether different. Right? All of these guides should be a jack of all trades, but have a certain level of experience in one particular area. You see what I mean? That way, when you meet these guides on your path, you can learn many things. You can become a jack of all trades yourself and learn many things from many different people, as opposed to getting just biased information from one person, you know what I mean, that it may have planted their flag in the ground or something. So he's talking about being a prophet and being called a prophet. He says, I am a prophet, basically, but I'm not the one of peace. I'm going to talk to you about destruction. I'm going to talk about the world changing. I'm going to talk about cataclysms. He goes on and says, I am the prophet to tell men of the frightener, though many generations will pass before it happens. It will be a thing of monstrous greatness, arising in the form of a crab. First, its body will be red, and then green, and then blue. It will spread across destruction across the earth, running from sunrise to sunset. It will come in the day of decision, when men are inflicted with spiritual blindness. When one ignorance has been replaced with another, when men walk in darkness and they call it the light. God, it's deep stuff, man. Interesting that he calls it a crab, that its shape is like a crab. You know what I mean? If you can kind of make like a little crab shape, basically, you can see it's sort of circular with these little crab strands coming out of it. It's also Medusa's face, okay? It's sort of the circular face with all the little plasma arms or crab legs that are coming out of it, etc. It's the plasma that is descending down from above. And he's saying, I'm telling you this now, but it's not going to happen for years to come, way far off into the future, right? So I can just imagine like half of his viewers leaving, like right then and there. If it was a YouTube channel, if this was a YouTube channel, I'd be like, what? This doesn't happen for 1,000,000 years? All right, I'm going to go play, or you know what I mean? However, some of the wise, they stay. And they understand that their time here is not short, but it is eternal. And they will continue on, and that this may be useful information for them in a future time. All right, he says, there will be no great signs heralding the coming of the frightener. No signs. I think that there are signs, but that's fine. It will come when men are least prepared. It will come when they seek only worldly things. In those days when men will be falling away from manliness and women from womanliness, it will be a time of confusion and chaos. So check this out. For all of the people who are like, when's this going to happen? I got to know what day is this going to happen on, etc. We are given various signs and omens. Okay. One of them is that this will happen. The plasma apocalypse, as I call it, is going to come on a day when most people are not prepared. On a day that seems like a peaceful, prosperous day for the citizens of Earth, like every other day or whatnot. Not that we don't have our own drama during that time. You know, there'll probably be wars and rumors of war, etc. But life is pretty comfy for most of us, right? We are pretty rich in comparison to those of old, right? Even if you live in a one-bedroom apartment like me or whatever, or a two-bedroom apartment or whatever, you know what I mean? Like still, you're pretty well off when you have water in your house. That's infinite, basically. Just, you can shower whenever you want. You've got food, like you're doing pretty good. I mean, you know, some of us, right? So signs. So when's this going to happen? This is going to happen when the world goes bad. Okay. So all you need to do is look around you when you go out and ask yourself, is the world going bad? Are things the opposite of what they should be? Are vendors and salespeople kind, nice, honest? You know what I mean? Are people acting the right way? I don't want to beat on this too much. Also, there is the whole men becoming more womanly and women becoming more manly, right? That is no judgment against the character of a person whatsoever, about their morality, okay? Whether they are moral individuals, whether they, you know, are oriented more towards the positive or the negative forces, or the male and the female, right? Energetically. What this is a sign that when the world's energy goes into flux, your energy goes into flux. All of our energy and those souls that are born into this world, that all start going into flux. So it's a time of flux, which means it's a time of confusion. And there's a time of mass integrating of many, many different things. The will of the wisps hunt the marshlands, but few are enlivened by ansess. Nick of the Nights haunt the stony places and the fells. This is interesting. The will of the wisps and Nick of the Nights are the exact same as jack-o'-lanterns, etc. These are the little sprites. These are the little fairies. These are little balls of light, little coalescent energetic sources that wisp about, that dance about, that, you know what I mean? People can see these when the world is inundated with energy. We don't see these quite often, and when we do, they're anomalous in our world, but there was a time when these were expected to be seen late at night when traveling through the woods or alongside of a creek or something, right? It goes on to say, as dogs can see happenings in the world of spirits, then whatever they do is important. And a wise man watches them and takes heed, for if a dog sleeps before the fire, all is well, and you may be at peace. But if he sleeps on a bed, then beware. To sleep in a corner means strife. To howl means death. To crouch and whimper indicates the presence of a spirit. This is funny to me. Some of these things to me are very common sense, just to me personally, right? But it may have happened during, you know, he may be speaking to a future where he knows these things will not be common sense, where people could not read the gestures of animals and understand exactly what's going on and what they're trying to tell us. We have been cut off. We have cut ourselves off, essentially, from communication with the animal world. So he's trying to teach you a little bit on how to, like, pick up on, you know, what the animals are putting down. I don't know why I got that in there. Hold on. Was that it? Hold on. Wait a minute. Why do I have a bunch of pictures? Oh, I'm totally going to do a presentation on Lady Justice. Hold on. I thought this was going to be way longer. Was that it? Did we just finish? Wow, I wasn't expecting. Hold on. Let me double check my work here. Hold on. I got to actually look in the file to see if that was it. I thought there was more. How fun. All right, let's see. Hold on. I'm just going to check my file. If we are done, we'll take a quick break and then I'll come back and hang out with the chat. Holy cow. That was it. That ended suddenly. I wasn't expecting that. All right, cool. Well, I've got a whole other presentation here on Lady Justice that we'll do sometime maybe later this week or something. But for now, hey, let's take a quick break. I'm going to go grab something to drink and I'll be back. I'm just going to hang out with all of the great people in the chat. I'm going to run the credits, but we're not leaving. If you'd like to say goodbye, that's great. That is the end of my presentation. The next part is going to be the after show, I guess you could call it. And I'll be right back. Thank you for everybody whose name you're about to see, by the way. All these people are very kind. supporting me, helping me in my life just to live, pay bills, raise my son and stuff. I can't thank you enough. So let's give them a huge shout out. Lots of emoji floods in the chat, and we'll be right back.
So hard to fade away. I try so hard to fade away, but something's forcing me to stay. It'd be
Hey, welcome back. Oh, I guess we don't really need this anymore, huh? Let's put something more fun up there, shall we? Is it that? Nope. Oh yeah, that goes too. Is it this? That works too. All right, sweet. We got a lot of room for comments and stuff like that. I'm gonna go ahead and expand the chat. I did see some people highlighting stuff while I was giving a little presentation, but I feel like that's a better way to do it. You know what I mean? I want to jump in, give the quick presentation if I have one, and then, you know, let everybody else go on their way. And then those of us who are all, you know, making friends and stuff, we can hang out in the chat and talk and stuff. So I'm jumping right in immediately. I see Hector Jabalan says, Jay, I like the show. It was interesting. Thanks, Hector. Appreciate you. Linda says, Jay eradicated me from the credits list. What? Did I? What are you talking about? I'll have to double check if you're serious. Is that, it says you're a member. So, what I do is I pull up whoever's a member at the time. You know what I mean? So if you missed like a day or something and it didn't include you, then you're not included. But I am prone to mistakes. So I'll have to double check. Let me know. Sage says Jay needs to do a members only ones. Okay, sweet. About like just hanging out or what? Like we could do that. I actually, check this out, Sage. I'm starting to give a few clues to something. Okay, my channel's coming up on 100,000, which is really unbelievable to me. But I have been working on something probably since like March of last year. It's taken some time, but I've slowly been building something, and it's a gift that I'm creating for all of my viewers. It's a gift for all of you. It's going to be something very awesome. And that video that I was showing you, these are little clues about that gift. Arcadia and the fam and all of that. These are all little gifts. I mean, all little hints and stuff like that. All right, let's see. JayDreamerZ. Oh, that's me. I say. JayDreamerZ says, all right, who else we got in the chat today? So what'd you guys think of the Colburn Bible? Let's talk about that. Let's kick things off with the Colburn Bible. What are your thoughts? One, was my presentation helpful? I would like to know that personally, if you found my presentation to be helpful. Are you the type of person that probably was never going to read the whole Colburn Bible anyways, and so it's nice to have somebody get to the point? Was it weird? Was it too all over the place and it was hard to understand? I'd love, you know, some feedback. That'd be awesome. Man, hold on. Let's see. We got Paolo. Hey, thanks for all of, no had deleted no one. Okay, good. Thank you, Paolo. Hey, I super appreciate all your little donations throughout today's stuff. Thank you very much. All right, back in the chat. 420 love sounds. Hey, right back to you. Good vibes. Good vibes. Delphic Maxim. I like that. Says Jay loved the Colburn Bible presentation. I'm glad you did. Let's see what else we got. Masterpiece Mad Libs. Hey, those are a good time. Those are a good time. I like those. We're going to do some more of those here in the future. Great watch, says Emma Rose. Thank you. Jen Tugon says, JayDreamerZ, once I thought I heard you say all of my walk-in life. Did I hear you wrong? All of my walk-in life? I don't recall saying that. Could be. Linda says, I'm sure it wasn't intentional. Oh, well, now I super feel bad. I'm gonna go double check all my work and stuff. Yeah. I'm definitely going to check that. Sorry about that. Actually, let me check that. I mean, I should be able to check it right now. I'm going to check on it like while we're talking and stuff. Welcome back, says Alex. Thank you. Good to see you as well. Where else are we here? I wish I had more pictures when I was doing the Kolbrin Bible one. You know what I mean? So that's the pros to not live streaming, is that you can go back and really perfect it. And I'm a perfectionist, so when I make my pre-recorded videos and I edit them and stuff, I tend to put a lot of work into it. I love it. I want it to look like the coolest thing I've ever seen, basically. But I can't do that when it's live. You know what I mean? Sometimes we don't get all the flashies. All right, what else we got? Kelly Fox. Don't pick on Jay. He does more than all of us put together. I'm proud. I do my part. Okay. Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate you. But I'm doing my part. I will continue to do my part and allow my light, you know what I mean, to shine stronger every day. So if that shines some light onto your path and helps you out, then I'm honored. Red Rose says, the number 7 was mentioned a lot in that Bible. I agree with you. And I think there's good reason for that. Your Gematria Hold Up says, Jay, I've been thinking about reading the Kolbrin Bible for a long time. But first, after your intriguing presentation of part 1, I decided to do it. Oh, good. Soon done Thomas Chan's books. Sweet. Also, the cause of your vid. Sweet. Or because of your vid. Right on. I like your picture too. That looks cool. All right. What else we got? Stephanie McGuire. Good to see you, Stephanie. Says, Jay, super enjoyed the presentations of it, but it seems like a Mandela effect to me. I've never even heard of it before now. Well, it could be. It could be a Mandela effect for you, or maybe for others too. I had heard the name before. I just didn't think it was anything legitimate or real, especially because I was brought up with well, I initially started my truth-seeking journey in the adult world in Christianity. And when I first began, I was very much taught like every book but the Bible, you should just burn it and it's not good for anything, you know what I mean? And it's evil and it's all satanic and stuff. So if I did hear about the Kolbrin Bible during that portion of my life, I probably had an aversion to it. Sam Carno says, JayDreamerZ, no many books are in the Kolbrin Bible, please. No many books. Right on. What else we got? Sage. Sage says, JayDreamerZ, never would read it, but I love you reviewing it. Next time, use your accent. All right. I was tempted to. I bet you could tell, right? I was tempted to do an accent a few times. I would love to, man. The Kolbrin Bible would just be a sweet movie. All right, Kimberly F says, JayDreamerZ, many of us were chatting about not knowing who wrote the Kolbrin Bible and its backstory. Could you go over that one more time, please? Thank you. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so traditionally, there's like an Old Testament to the Kolbrin Bible, which was written allegedly by ancient Egyptians. And then there is sort of a New Testament, which was written by allegedly, ancient Druids, around the time of Jesus. It's very similar, right? Now, who actually wrote it? I have no idea. I don't know. It doesn't have a lot of names. It doesn't have flashy titles like John and Mark, and you just assume that those are the authors to those books. It doesn't do that. As a matter of fact, the author is specifically addressing the people of the future. So I assume that they're wise enough to know that their name that matters not. And they probably shouldn't even, it would probably lessen it if they put their name on it. You know what I mean? All right, continuing on, we got Joe Cool. What's up, Joe Cool? Man, I see you everywhere. Joe Cool's in all the chats. Joe Cool says, Jay, I believe we need an open mind and should look into everything, even though I'm KJV Bible believing myself. I understand. And I understand that there is some small truth in everything. Right on. Hey, you've got my support on your path, Joe. Annie D says, Jay, great show tonight. Thank you, Annie. Delphic Maxim says, Jay, the Kolbrin Bible certainly seems prophetic. Many of the signs throughout run parallel to phenomena of today. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Yeah, I don't have words. I really don't have words at this moment. Alex says, I found a mini documentary about it, but I haven't watched it yet. Okay, cool. Red Rose says, JayDreamerZ, just a guess, the number 7 is the letter G in Gematria. Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Bob, Zayin. Is it? Really? Oh, no, I thought G was 3, isn't it? Like ABC, C is basically the G. I don't know, I could be wrong. Let's see, 7 is the letter G in Gematria. I don't know, I don't study Gematria, I guess, right? Any connection to Gilgamesh, the dragon, the star? So is there a connection to the number 7 and Gilgamesh? Yes, I definitely think so. The dragon? Yes, I definitely think so. And Satan? Yes, but also to God, or what many people would refer to as God, or the God of this world, etc. Lady Luke says, JayDreamerZ, I love it was written for future generations. I do too. They're basically saying, what's up, future people? Just like I do sometimes on my channel, right? Because sometimes I get caught up in oh, this is a live stream. And so I'm all live stream minded. I want to sort of pull myself from that. And I want to incorporate people who are watching in the future as well, which is why I'm going to do this hangout session at the end of my videos after the credits, because of them, because I want them to get as much as they can eat, which is probably a little less than people who hang out more later, right? And then be full and go back and then come back another time. Super welcome, Kimberly. Joe Dundle says, JayDreamerZ, the mushrooms allowed me to see that I am an elf or an elven being. And I was looking for more info in your elven series. and you've answered so many questions. Thank you from an elf or an elven. You're very welcome. Of course. Absolutely. Totally. I mean, it's not, you're welcome. I'm just going to say you're welcome, right? I'm walking my path. I'm doing my part. These are all, everything I talk about on my channel is all my perspective. It's all my theories, my ideas, how I see things as I'm strolling along. I'm the robot at the end in the credits. Okay. See that robot? Like just, no cares, no worries, confident, walking off towards the mountains. That's me. I just want to walk my path confidently, knowing that I'm on my path and nobody else in the whole universe can have this path. This is my path. And I like that. You're welcome. Sam says, JayDreamerZ, sorry now. Many books have you found within the Kolbrin Bible. Many may be lost like other texts. Sam, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm sorry. I try to be nice. I have no idea what you're asking me. Sorry. What's up, daughters of Lilith? I have to, man, your name is so difficult. I've had conversations with myself. Like, I wonder if she smiles every time that she sees people reading her name, because I doubt anybody can say that perfectly. Like, say that 5 times fast. It's so, I love it. That's why I love it. I will always remember your name. I'm pretty sure. Lady Lukes says, JayDreamerZ, and the ancients hope that we are not as lost as they were. Yeah. I mean, I see if I was wise and I understood that time and all things were cyclical and destined to reoccur, then I could take my current situations and circumstances, everything I've learned about the past, see the patterns, recognize them, and forecast the future, right? Which means if I'm going to write a book for people in the future, I already know it's not going to be for everybody, because I already know how everybody thinks. I already know how everybody acts, and especially how they would act to things that they have long been forgotten. You know what I mean? Linda says, regardless of the Kolbrin's origin, it contains a lot of truths. So thanks for discovering it. You're super welcome. I'm glad you found some truth in there. All right, so let's see. We got, sorry, Carla, to hear that, Carla. That's a bummer. Let's see. We got Tilling Buckle. What's up, Tilling Buckle? Daughters of Lilith says, Jay, it's hilarious thinking about you saying my name back and talking to yourself. Yeah, I mean, like I think of many of you often. From time to time, I'm reminded of, certain things that you guys have said. I've starting to get to know some of you a little. I've sometimes I recognize your screen names, or I mean, some people have just changed their whole screen name and everything, and I still recognized like their energy. You know what I mean? I knew it was the same person. Haktor says, Jay, I'm thinking ancient people are greatest people who ever lived. Okay, sweet, awesome. I mean, they seem, I would definitely agree and say that they were different. You know what I mean? I'm not sure what you mean by the greatest, but hey, I think that's awesome. They are the giants whose shoulders we stand upon, right? As we are to future generations. JJ Organic says, JayDreamerZ, Joe Cool is my better half. We have come a long way on our path, questioning everything. We both enjoy your channel. Thanks for doing what you do. You're super welcome. Both of you are super welcome. It's an honor. We got Daughters of Lilith, who says, let's do another Mad Libs. See, here's the thing. I can't do one right now because I couldn't afford it. Like, you have to pay $30 a month for this service or whatever. Otherwise, you can only do so many pictures and stuff. So once I get it back, we'll totally do that a bunch. I want to do it a bunch. So once that's back, we're going to do that a lot. That's going to be a reoccurring thing on my channel, is to do Masterpiece Mad Libs. Also because it's a part of my surprise. It's a part of my surprise, but I don't want to spoil the surprise. And I don't think anyone's going to guess it either. You can go ahead and try. But I think you'll like it. Not all of you, obviously, but I think many of you will appreciate what I'm creating, what I'm making. JayDreamerZ, it would be amazing to hear you read the Aerial Alien interview by Matilda McElroy, although it's very long. Okay, I've never heard of it, but it sounds interesting. Tilling Buckle, boom, says, I love when Jay says, okay, sweet. Sometimes I don't know what to say, you know what I mean? So I'm just Say something nice is all I keep thinking of. I keep trying to remember Buckaroo Banzai. I mean, just that one part in the movie where he stops rocking out with the guitar and to help somebody, and everyone's like, "Oh, you're ruining our good time," and he's just like, "Hey, be nice." Like that's it. It's really that simple, you know. Be nice. Jeez. Be nice when you come across differences or perceived differences. Be nice. You know, that's going to be my tool and my go-to. As nice as I can, and I'll get better at being nice. I promise. Jay, the guard are waking up and they're angry. What are you talking about? What do you mean the guard? The guard are waking up? Okay. Sage says, JayDreamerZ, are you noticing things are going easier? Hey, real quick, I'm going to read that, but it just reminded me of something. I don't want to forget. Did you guys notice that one of the signs that the Kolbrin Bible repeatedly referenced was the sign of the days shortening and getting shorter and shorter, and the length of the time in the years getting shorter and stuff? I did. Sage says, JayDreamerZ, are you noticing things are getting easier, and for some, it's getting really hard? Yes. I believe that some have really worked on themselves, my deep thoughts. I have noticed that. I continue to notice that. I'm watching that and seeing that in many of you, in my own life. I'm telling you, we're entering into a time of extremes, right? Things are going to go back and forth real hard to various extremes, and people will too, personally, individually, and in groups. Oh, I just totally got some donations. Let me say thank you. Let's see, we got the first donation was $20. And that is a lot of money. Thank you. Super appreciate the $20. Lady Lukes, who says, this will help you get closer to the subscription. Oh, hey, cool. Oh, yes. Thank you. I super appreciate that. Yes, absolutely. Yay. Okay, sweet. So, yes, that does help. Very much. I appreciate it. And Linda says towards the Mad Libs fund. Oh, you guys are awesome. Okay, how cool. Yes, it cost $30. So, I mean, you just paid almost all of it. But man, yeah, we're going to make that happen. Thank you. Jesus. Like, I don't know what to say. I love it. God, man. See, that's the times I'm a YouTuber and, you know, like if I didn't speak, it would be awkward and weird. One of these days I'll show you. But when I'm speechless, I find that it's best not to talk. You guys make me speechless sometimes by your affection that you show each other and me. All right, jumping back in the chat. Okay, hold on. Let me wipe off all my tears. Thank you so much. You guys are the best. All right. We got, what else we got in the chat? Oh, what's up, Mars Pop? Good to see you. Mars Pop. Oh, Alex is looking forward to seeing my surprise. Did I just get another donation? Oh my God, I did. Ah, Lady Lukes. Lady Laux. Is it Laux? Lady Laux. I wonder how you pronounce that. Do you pronounce it Laux or Lukes? Either way, it's cool. All right, thank you. I super appreciate it. I like the little super chat sticker, the little lemon dude dancing. All right, jumping back in, we got Janine Tot, who says, JayDreamerZ, I've noticed a big difference in time on the cell towers compared to the digital clocks. I have too. I'm so glad you noticed that you mentioned that. The digital clocks always fall behind by at least 5 to 10 minutes a year. I totally agree with you. Thank you. God, thank you. Thank you too, Jen. I'm going to come right back to you. But seriously, Janine Tot, thank you for sharing that. That makes me feel good personally, because sometimes we notice things and it makes us feel weird because we never heard anyone else mention that. You know what I mean? So you saying that is something I've noticed this as well. And keeping track of the time, you know, I feel is pretty important, right? So definitely want to keep track of the time. Jen Tagon says, Jay, I'm glad to have you around and gave me $3. Thank you, Jen Tagon. Man, I can't thank you guys enough. You've more than already paid, I'm sure, for like a whole month worth of that Midjourney services. Emma Rose. Hey, Emma Rose, good to see you. Emma Rose should be a moderator, I think. What do you guys think? Let's give Emma Rose moderator status. Boom. Yes. All right, sweet. Alex says, Jay, you're a very kind-hearted person. We appreciate the hard work that you put into everything. Oh man, you guys we're super gushy right now. Let's hug. Let's all hug. Oh, super gushy. All right, Joe Cool. What's up, Joe Cool? Says, Jay, small off topic, but during 2022, did you notice that processing plants throughout the US were being destroyed? No, I did not notice that. I believe the food supply will become very hard in 2023. Yeah, I believe everything's slowly going to get worse. Or quickly getting worse, basically. But yeah, I don't keep my eyes on processing plants. Right? Is that a thing that people do? Do people watch processing plants? It sounds like something that's been on the news. All right. Thanks for sharing that, Joel. And we also got Boom, Pamela, giving high fives for everybody giving me money to live off of. Man, thank you. Thank you super very much. You have no idea. Like, I have food stamps. I live in a 2-bedroom apartment. I get so happy, you know, when people just give me money or donate money or whatever. And also it's an honor. I don't like talking about it a lot, but I like to be real with people. It's super an honor. It's like, it represents energy. It's currency, and it's people are boosting me. Like, I'm getting boosts, and it's nice. I don't know. Okay, just shut up. Just shut up. All right. Where were we? Oh my God, Sage 2. Sage pitched in $5 for the Mad Libs fund. Hey, that's cool, man. Thank you, Sage. Super appreciate you. Haktor Jabalan says, Jay, I know this is off topic, but I won my first crown victory on Fortnite. And my other friend won 4 crown victories. Haktor, boom, high five, man. That's a good feeling. I know it's not easy to get a crown victory, let alone just a regular one. Now me, I tend to hide in a bush until I'm like the last dude. But even then, it's not always easy, right? But yeah, good job, Hector. Daughters of Lilith says, Jay, have you ever had encounters with so-called mythical beings in 3D? I don't know what you mean about 3D, but yeah, I have. Mythic beings. Let me just, well, let's see. There was like some shadow people. I mean, they weren't really shadowy. They were more like invisible entities. Kind of like, like incubuses, you know what I mean? When I was younger, that sat on my chest, and I was in dream world, but it could not wake up. I realized I was awake, and then all of a sudden I was awake. However, I could not move. Like, I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything. I was frozen, and I just felt this energy from this entity. Some stuff like that. You know what I mean? Also, I've seen bubbles. I don't know what to call these things, but they're just energy bubbles, right? I saw an energy bubble manifest in front of me. One of just the most like, oh, like, whoa, this is once in a lifetime thing to experience, at least, you know, during the time that we live in now, right? This huge bubble. It's not a regular bubble. This was energy, okay? This looked like something from Flight of the Navigator or something, you know, like it's huge bubble that you could see through it, but it kind of distorts things. Just slowly floated down out of the sky like the Glinda the Good Witch of the North or something, right? And it was so crazy. I don't want to tell you the whole story about this bubble, but I saw this crazy energy bubble that descended down towards, it stopped right at the base. It basically disappeared once it got to the base of this huge electrical tower. You know what I mean? Like that, you know, those towers that they have like wires on and they buzz and stuff like that. There was a big one. And a skunk walked right in my path just before this happened. Like, it was the middle of the night. I was coming home from work, walking home, didn't have a car, didn't have a bicycle. And I took a shortcut through this park or whatever. And on the only path that I could take to get home, a skunk, you know, just parks its butt right where I needed to go and just looks at me like, what? And because I had stopped, I stopped looking down at my phone, which I was, you know, checking my phone or whatever. And I stopped because I saw that skunk. And because I saw the skunk out of my peripheral, Daughters of Lilith, I saw this bubble moving. And like, I looked over at it and then quickly back at the skunk. And then I had to look back at the bubble. I'm like, wait, did I just see that? And then like, I was trying to like keep my eye on the skunk in my peripheral, but actually just really stare at this bubble thing. I didn't want to blink because I knew I was seeing something, and I was afraid if I blinked, it would disappear. It was like I was standing in front of the weeping angels. Anyways, yes, I've seen all kinds of interesting things. Rufus Payne gave me $2. Oh my God, Rufus, thank you. Let me catch up in chat. We got your Gematria says, JayDreamerZ, I have 2 digital clocks, and that's moving at 2 separate speeds, which I find fascinating. Time is definitely acting up more than usual. I totally agree with you. Kimberly F, pick me. Pick you for what? You lost me. I'm sorry. I kind of lost myself there for a sec. Jack Detrack says, dope. JayDreamerZ, even cannabis gummy bears makes me kind of hazy in my eyes. One love. Yeah, that's one effect that has. I've never had the any of the edibles before. I'm always scared to try any kind of mind altering substances or whatever. Because I'm pretty content already with my body, my spirit and stuff like that. And not only that, but I'm super sensitive. I can eat sugar and I feel it in my body. I feel where it's going. I feel what it's doing to me. I feel all the chemicals that it's releasing, and not just sugar, but anything. It could be anything. My body is super sensitive. So I've been invited, by some friends and stuff to go try mushrooms or something. And I'm just like, nah, are you kidding me? I need a professional environment to eat mushrooms in or something. You know what I mean? I'm not just eating mushrooms in some buddy's backseat of his car or some crazy stuff. No. That is walking into the spirit realm. I need a spirit guide. I need this to be proper. I need to do things the right way. I got to cleanse my body. I can't eat for a day. I mean, I'm not trying to have bad experiences because my mind is super strong and it can become quite creative, especially if there's any substance involved to boost it. You know what I mean? All right, let's see. Where was I? I totally went off on some tangents there. Oh, yeah, the incubus thing. Yeah, the price of crap's going up way too much. Man, I had to not buy stuff at Walmart this weekend. I had to put stuff back. I'm there with my son at Walmart, right? And I'm doing a little self-checkout, and I'm like, hey, little guy, check this out. There's no bags. Do you see that? We had this whole conversation about bags and stuff like that. And I'm like, all right, whatever. I ring all this stuff up. It's like, bink, that'll be $80. I had 6 things. I'm like, oh, wow. Well, we got to put lots of this stuff back. You know what I mean? And the lady who I talked to, I mentioned it to the people that are cashiers or people that work at these stores. And to them, it's just like, so? I'm just like, that, okay. It's huge to me, but whatever. Hector says, Jay, I would like to meet you in real life so we can have a drink together. That sounds fun. I think that's cool. There's a bar right down the street. It's a pretty cool place. I like to do karaoke and play pool, actually. That's my thing. I'm kind of a loner, so if I go out in public, I like to find a nice little comfy pool table, put some money in the jukebox, put on some good tunes, and, see if I make friends or whatever. So I'm not against that. We got, Rufus Payne gave me $2. Thanks, Rufus. Hey, he says, I appreciate your work. Super, thank you. And you're very welcome. Honestly, it's fun. It's an honor. It's hard work. I will tell you that. I'm not going to act like it's easy to run my channel. There's probably billions of channels that are super easy and they're all millionaires, etc. And they don't do anything, right? Now, I'm not complaining. I'm just letting you know. Everything you see and experience, if you find value in it, oftentimes I've put a lot of time, a lot of work, a lot of hours staying up until the sun rises doing this stuff. You know what I mean? So you're super welcome. Jack-a-track. You have Swedish relatives? Possibly. I am lost. I'm one of the lost tribes. I have no idea who I'm related to at all. I know who my grandma was, and that's it. Beyond that, my family tree is a ghost. I have no idea. Let's see. What else we got? Alex. How awesome, Jay. Energy bubble. I know. Oh my God. I'll never forget it. There's certain events that happen in our lifetimes where it's just fuzzy. Some stuff is just blank. I can't remember certain events, or I definitely am not just keeping an accurate record of every second I've ever lived. But then some weird stuff happens and you don't forget it. You know what I mean? The story replay. That was insane. That was an insane, amazing night. It was mystical, magical. I loved it. Joe Dunkles says, JayDreamerZ, hey, do you play games? Like No Man's Sky or Star Citizen? No, I've never heard of those. Do you think these games lend sort of insight to life outside the dome? I believe all of those video games do. Every single one of them. They're just like my truth in movies. All these video games. I mean, I play video games. I have a Nintendo Switch that I mostly play. I did post my little friend code so I can get friends to play with me. I don't have any. Oh, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I like to play Skyrim. Me and my son play Skyrim a lot when he's here. Otherwise, my go-to is Rocket League, which is like soccer but with cars. It's like speed chess, but you're on the chessboard. And Fortnite, of course. And what else do I play? I used to play a lot of Mario Kart, but then it kind of got easy. Like, you know. Anyways, yeah, so I definitely play some video games from time to time. Autodidactic uploaded Jay co-hosting on his channel. Nice to see him on the other channel. Yeah, that was a blast. Huge shout out to Autodidactic. That dude's got good energy. I like his vibe. I like his flow. I like his research, the stuff that he's looking into. Now, keep in mind, just because I give shout outs to people that I resonate with and I like, does not mean that I'm up on all their info and that I know everything that they know or anything. Like I said, we're all jacks of our own trades. Okay. So I'm glad to hear you guys going to these different tents. Okay. Like if we were all camping together, basically that you would be walking to like a different tent and getting something from different places. And I like that. I like that. I think that's good. Allahu Akbar says, thank you for sharing uncommon knowledge, Jay. Of course, you're very welcome. It's a pleasure. IYQ2 says, you are also great. Such a great place to be. Oh, how nice. YouTube, all good night. And Jay is the best. Awesome. Sweet. Where was I? Where was I? Oh, I got a huge donation. Hold on. I'm not even catching up to these donations. Oh my God. I'm going so slow in the chat. I'm just talking. Men in black suits in dreams. Black suits in dreams. Blah, 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 blah. I don't know. I have no idea. I do have thoughts about that, but I can't think of what they are right now. Men in black suits. Usually ominous. If somebody's wearing a black suit, it's usually pretty ominous. So it represents unexplored areas, mystery, fear, challenge, and change, or possible change. I mean, it's change one way or another, right? But it's also seen as a challenge to overcome the man in black, etc. Emma Rose says that will be nice, sweet. Delphic Maxim, thank you. Daughters of Lilith, taken Sylvia is probably. Have you taken Sylvia is probably. Oh, it's like a drug. I thought you were talking about a YouTube channel. I was like, what? Yeah, no, I've not done that. Pamela Swan, exactly. Thank you. Alex, mushrooms should be taken with the utmost respect. I agree with that about everything. I mean, water should be taken with the utmost respect. Somewhere in time says, Jay, wow, that's 3 times my Ulube took me out. I'm not sure what's happening. Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. I like your picture too. Kind of remind me of like someone I knew a long time ago. Sage says, JayDreamerZ, I'm still thinking about the Rabbit Hole restaurant. I know, isn't that a sweet place? Ah, I can't wait to go there one day. Alex says, I wish we could all teleport Jay, then we could all meet up for a massive campfire chat. Your wish is my command. Sure thing. I'll work on that. Daughters of Lilith says, Jay, give us an update on the guy who saw a giant and went missing. I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm sorry. Super sorry. Haktor Jablan. Oh, you're talking about that dude that posted the video or whatever? I think he died. I heard that he died. I don't know if that was a giant though, but that's what people say. Where's Haktor? Jay, what you sow, there could be a ghost orb. Oh yeah, ghost orb. Oh, right on. Hey, that's cool. I love music too. Oh, now I'm finally getting to Levi's super chat. Thank you for being patient, Levi, and thanks for $10 too. God, it helps a lot. It helps a super lot. And I also want to say thanks to ML, who just donated 50 New Zealand dollars. I don't know what those are called. I'm so sorry. Whatever. I have no idea how much that is in American money. If you send it in foreign money, I'm not going to have any idea like how much that actually is. So I just, no matter how much it is, I don't care. Okay. I mean, obviously it's $1 million. I'm probably going to be super like, what? But regardless, thank you. God, thank you. I'm so thankful for all of you. just so that you know. For people who only donate $1.99 to people that donate $1,000, right? Each of those, man, has brought tears to my eyes, honestly. All right, what else we got? Thank you again, ML. Super appreciate you. Hector Jabalan says, Jay, I play Fortnite and War Thunder, something, Ace in the Sky. Oh, that's cool. Right on. Yeah, you can add me on Fortnite if you happen to be able to find me somehow. One of these days, I'll try to like repost all my, Switch and Fortnite stuff so people can jump on. Joe Cool. Where was I? Oh, he's talking to Sage. Let's see. What else do we got? Oh, thank you, ML. Do something fun with your kid. God, I will. I mean, we do all the time. But man, thank you, of course. And I'm going to let him know, like, hey, other people make this possible for us to, to make these kinds of memories. Joe Cool says, Jay, it's very time consuming doing what you do and can become laborsome. It takes a lot of time just doing the media editing software. I know. That stuff, especially if you're meticulous. If I can be of help anyway. Oh, right on. That's cool. It's good to know. Thank you. I appreciate it. I've had to teach myself a lot of different things since my YouTube journey began, right? I've had to teach myself how to use all kinds of different pieces of technology and programs and websites and all kinds of stuff that I really did not really want to know, honestly. Like I was fine not having all that extra stuff in my brain. However, I've made room. I've since rearranged some stuff so that I can fit all that computer mumbo jumbo in there. Sage says, JayDreamerZ, you must stay after every show. Money. Everyone is so busy listening during the show. I know, right? I mean, I'm not going to say, obviously, I'm not going to stay and, just to hope to get money. That's not why I'm doing it. But it does make me smile and it does relieve a lot of my burdens. You know what I mean? Like every time I get a donation, depending on like how much it is, like that much of my burden has literally been lifted. My anxiety, my stress, because I'm just like a lot of you guys. I stress about bills. I stress about paying my rent. You know what I mean? Like it gets done, and it's always going to get done. You know what I mean? I really shouldn't stress at all. But yeah, it's nice. So thank you. What else? Did I miss anything? Lady Luke says, JayDreamerZ, Laux is pronounced Laux. Oh, okay, cool. Laux. That makes sense. Laux. All right, cool. Lady Laux. Hector Jabalan says, Jay, I have already added you on Fortnite. Are you in my friends list? I have no idea. I'm not super good at navigating Fortnite. I'm just only good at playing Fortnite. So if it pops up, hey, someone wants to play with you and, I want to, then I do. Let's see. Rather not know. Okay, Alex. Play the piano. I'll have to play the piano again sometime. I do enjoy that. I gave my piano to my son as a gift, and I'm teaching him how to use it at the moment. So I'm teaching him to play the piano. So I don't really have it set up, for me to play or whatnot, or in computer areas or whatever. All right, cool. Well, hey, I had a great time in this little first ever after show hangout of 2023. I'm definitely going to do this more often because now I can ramble. Now I can be awkward. Now you guys can say whatever you want. You know what I mean? Like it's a good time. I like doing it this way. I'm glad I thought about this and chose to do this. It's a good idea. All right, sweet. Well, let me give you some heads up. We got surprises on the way. So if you guys want to get the surprise earlier, you can always do the liking and sharing and all that fun stuff so that the word spreads. However, I feel like the word is spread fine at whatever pace it's on all by itself this entire time. And I'm starting to get a little excited about it. Like it's starting to become a reality. To get 100,000 subscribers is that's impressive for somebody with the content that I have, I would say. Not just for anybody, because I feel like anybody can totally get 100,000 subscribers in like 3 days easy. It just depends on what you talk about and what's catchy and stuff like that. These things that I present are not super catchy to most people. They don't stick easy to anybody in the general crowd. You know what I mean? So to get that far with so much information and, taking the time to beautify it and to make it look pleasing and smell good and be attractive to the eye, no matter how many people have passed, It's been a ride. Still a ride. It's still good. It's a good ride. All right. What else? All right, cool. Well, I'm gonna say goodbye. No idea what I'm about to do with my life right now. I didn't really plan for tonight. So, yeah. Does YouTube give a plaque? I hope so. I'm not expecting a plaque, but I have seen people get plaques and stuff, and I do think they're pretty cool. And I would like to show it and be like, hey, how cool is this? Mostly, I want to see the look on my son's face. He's basically like, oh my God, Dad, you're going to get a YouTube trophy or whatever. You know what I mean? He's so into that, and that I would like to have it just to make my son proud. You know what I mean? Like, that's really why I want it. I think that's cool. I think it's super cool. But anyways, Tech Bursting, check you out. Thank you for the donation. Just gave me $20. Super appreciate it. I'm just gonna call it $20. You know what I mean? No, you didn't say anything though. Well, thank you. You don't need to say anything. I super appreciate you. Thank you, Tech. Or I'm sorry, I saw it said Sec. Thank you, Truly Bursting. Super appreciate you. What is on your face? What is going on? Do you have something on your face? What is going on there? You gotta let me know. Thank you for the donation. Super appreciate you. Alex, I'm glad you're having a good time, Alex. I'm glad you're having a good time, Sage. I'm just kidding. Solar Eclipse. Yeah, I'm going to be actually watching for that. I do want to catch that one. And Susie says, new to your channel and loving your insight on everything. Many thanks. You did not even have to do that, and you did. God, like I'm super. And Satnam Sandhu just subscribes. Satnam Sandhu, welcome. Susie Flat, thank you. Man, I'm gonna get flustered. I'm gonna turn red. You guys are gonna make me turn red. I better get out of here. All right. I don't want to get out of here yet. Hold on, I got more comments. Emma Rose. I love hanging out with you guys. I loved every second. Right on. When am I going to stream Fortnite again? Probably never. I probably will never, ever do that again. Not on my channel, at least. Like, that's not what this channel's for, and I don't want to do that with my channel. I've built something that's very valuable with my channel, and I don't really want to tear it down, destroy it, or take it for granted. You know what I mean? I respect my work that I have done and my creation that I have made. And playing Fortnite is not what this channel's about. I could do that. I'd have a blast playing Fortnite, you know, letting people listen to me talk trash to the TV or whatever. That'd be fun. However, this channel takes up all of my time. Like, my research is all day long. My experiences are constant. I'm constantly working on things that you guys don't really usually ever know about, you know, either if it's me sitting here researching, taking notes, studying things, if it's me adding tiny little details or huge details to my website or other projects that I might be working on. Or, you know what I mean? All these different little tiny things that I have to do because I get like multiple streams of income from my website, from my book, from YouTube and stuff like that. So I have to constantly manage a lot of different things. So it is a lot of work. A silver plaque, 100,000 subs. Hey, that'd be sweet. I'm okay with silver. That's fine. You know what I mean? Like, that is quite an accomplishment. You know what I mean? JJ Organic says, JayDreamerZ, when you reach 100,000 subs, you have to order it from YouTube and they mail it to you. Okay, that's sweet. I'll order one. That's fine. Shoot, I'll make one. Like, as long as it's legitimate. No, I won't make one. I would like them to send me one. I want the official one. Lady Laux says, we loved it, JayDreamerZ, to get the special lights at your channel. Sweet. All right. Say my name to close. Say my Daughters of Lilith. There you go. All right. Anything else? Linda, here's some hearts from Linda, everybody. Little heart candies sprinkled amongst the good vibe tribe. Hearts to everybody. There's my website, Truly Bursting. Also says just a mud face mask my girlfriend made me wear. I kind of thought that's what that was. I heard those are very good for you. And I've had, you know, a girlfriend or two in times past that insist that I also do that. So that's why I was asking, because I've been there. I understand. All right. Let's see. I should make a gaming channel. Nah, I don't. If I had help, you guys don't have no idea. Everything I do, I have 99.99% done all by myself. Everything. From the things you read, to the things you see, to the things you hear, to all of it. All done by me. If I had like a team or something, or maybe one day when I have a team, that would be awesome to actually have a team. Like, maybe one day, you know what I mean? I could get them to help out on other projects or whatever. Yes, thank you. Okay, sweet. All right, I'm gonna go. I'm totally gonna go now. All right, sweet. It's been great hanging out. I don't know how to end it though. Like, I can't roll the credits. It's weird just cutting it off and just saying goodbye. I don't like it when other people do that. I like there to be something here. Let's see. I'm just gonna roll my intro again. Okay, sweet. All right, cool. So until next time, let me say the thing I always say. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, I've had a good time with all of you. And it's very nice to meet you. And I get sad when I say goodbye because I consider many of you to be like, you know, my buddies. And you guys crack me up. All right, I'm going to go. Until next time, I'm JayDreamerZ saying good vibes and goodbye.